Ford.com.
Good morning, everybody. Time right now, 3 o'clock. I'm Yvette Brusoil. We're talking about thrashing rain, relentless wind. We are feeling the hardcore effects of what is Hurricane Matthew. Let's go ahead and give you the very latest coordinate and track. Live weather on the ones now with meteorologist Maureen McCann. The rest of the meteorologists are all over the Weather Center gathering all the data. So tell us about the intensity at this hour.
Category 3 winds of 120 miles per hour near the center of circulation, trending on that northwesterly track parallel to the coast, but not exactly moving over land at this time. And the eye should stay there, but we have some very intense bands on the left side of the storm, or the western side of the storm. And we're starting to pick up a little bit of rotation within those. Of course, that's something we always talk about with the threat of a nearby tropical system. Whenever you have that rotation, that can lead to spin-ups and isolated tornadoes and water spouts. That is out over land right now. That's what that marker is indicating, circled in yellow and red out over the water. That is still quite a distance from land near the Sebastian Inlet, or offshore by about 15 miles. But these bands are very intense, and here's where we may be looking at the possibility of isolated tornadoes as these bands rotate on shore. The areas right here that I'm going to be circling, that's where some of the heaviest rainfall is. Of course, Melbourne, Cocoa, Satellite Beach, Malabar, Palm Bay, all getting some very heavy rain at this time and very strong wind. In fact, we'll go over to that wind right now on Storm Tracker 13, and the color contours really tell it all as to where the winds are the strongest, likely over tropical storm force in these blue shaded areas as high as 60 miles per hour. We even had a wind gust in the last hour or so in Grant in Brevard County up to 68 miles per hour, and inland those winds are also between 25 and 35 miles per hour or more. So we've had a picture coming in of a tree down in Orange City, so these impacts will be felt inland. The track, as mentioned, staying off the coast of Cape Canaveral, but still a very close pass, meaning with the winds up to 45 miles away from the center of circulation being hurricane force, we may be seeing those leading to that devastation in parts of Brevard County, coastal Volusia, and even east of Orange County, with those stronger wind gusts embedded within the most intense bands. You've seen this scrolling along in the bottom of your screen, but a reminder, this is a hurricane warning, and you want to just wait till the storm passes and shelter in place until things improve. Interior sections are not out of the woods. We also have the tropical storm warning posted. Another look at those winds. I know we saw them on Storm Tracker 13. Here's another vantage point. The latest actual wind speeds up to around 44 miles per hour in Melbourne. So a lot to go over here with these different impacts with your weather on the ones, and we'll have more coming up in less than 10 minutes as our team coverage continues. Right now, I'll send things back to Beth.
All right, thanks so much, Maureen. Time right now, 3:03. News 13's Jerry Hume joining us live once again from Melbourne City Hall parking garage. The intensity of the wind is quite impressive, and for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, Beth, hard to hear you out here with this wind that is pushing us actually here in the parking garage. We're on the 3rd floor, so we're a bit elevated. We're feeling those wind speeds just right where we are. We're getting a wind speed of, well, let me look. It's 11, 13 miles per hour. If we hold it up higher, we get about 20 miles per hour. But you can see the rain is just being pushed by the wind right here, almost horizontally. This is US 192. Right now, we've only seen about 2 cars in the last half hour, so that's good news. A lot of people staying off the roads, which is what emergency management leaders want, because they say that not even their own firefighters or paramedics are traveling on the roadways here in Brevard County. This is the downtown area. We're close to US 1. Rain is picking up here. You can see the One Harbor Place, on the rain actually hitting the side of the building there pretty hard. Also, take a look at these power poles. You can see they are shaking right now. Power is on here, although about 20,000, more than 20,000 people here in Brevard County are without power, according to Florida Power and Light. We're very close also to the railroad tracks. You can see the crossing arm is being pushed back and forth by the wind. I also want to take a look at this road right here. You can see what's on a lot of the streets is palm fronds. We were on US 192 earlier this morning and saw a lot of palm fronds that we had to dodge in order to get to this location. The last thing I want you to look at is down here. This is a lot of the water is pooling right here out of this City Hall garage, and it was there was nothing here at midnight. It's a little bigger as we showed you last hour, and now this water is almost getting to the fence. So flooding is going to be an issue, localized flooding at least. We will, of course, be here through the duration of Hurricane Matthew, telling you what's going on here in the Brevard County. For now, reporting live in Melbourne, Jerry Hume, News 13.
Yeah, there are 74-mile-per-hour winds reported over in Barefoot Bay, wind gusts. So that shows you the severity in Brevard County. David Bowden joining us live now in Flagler County. David?
Well, Beth, I can tell you that it's so amazing the way that the weather systems change in between these bands from the hurricane. We go from being peacefully quiet to all of a sudden the rain coming down again and these strong winds coming through that are able to really take you off your feet if you're not careful. Now, we've been showing all morning that the police there, they are blocking off the bridge that goes to the barrier islands. The Flagler Beach is closed right now. They don't want anybody coming across to the mainland or going over to the beach at this point because the winds are getting just high enough, and they tell me that at 45 miles an hour a car can actually be lifted up and tossed over the side of that bridge, so they don't want to allow anyone to cross it. Now, when they tell me when the winds do reach 45 miles an hour, sustained winds, that the police themselves will hunker down and they will no longer be guarding this bridge and taking care of any emergencies that may go on over on the other side. So fortunately at this point we know that FPL tells us that there's no power outages in Flagler County at this point. That's at last check. And also the folks over there, so far we've not heard of any calls for emergencies on the beach side. We're going to continue to monitor that. Now, as far as shelters go, there are 3 shelters that are open here in Flagler County. You can go to our website at mynews13.com and find out more information on those. We are told that there are no cots or crates available for anyone at this point, but if you still need to hunker down somewhere, there are still safe places for you to go. For now, we are live in Flagler County. David Bowden, News 13.
And now let's go to Volusia County in Daytona Beach. Christina Jensen joining us live once again.
Yeah, Beth, I think what people need to be worried about in Daytona Beach right now is the wind more than the rain. The rain is coming down lightly, but that wind is kicked up to 34 miles per hour. Any items left behind from business owners or people, you're going to see them on the street just like you do now, and so it is imperative that you stay indoors. Just to give you an idea about how strong this wind is, you can see the Italian garden sign and those flags blowing. It's incredible. I mean, you do not want to be outside right now. There is a curfew set. County officials have set that curfew until 7 a.m. Saturday morning. They are worried about a threat of a storm surge that could be about 7 feet high, 7 to 11 feet high, and you can see that there are lights on, so power is not out in Daytona Beach. We are hearing of some reports in Deltona, so we need to figure out how many people are out of power there and when their lights are going to be turned on. In terms of shelters, they are open currently, and now is not the time to evacuate. Now is the time to stay indoors. For now, reporting live in Daytona Beach, Christina Jensen, News 13.
Hi, Christina, we'll be checking with you throughout the morning. So in the last few minutes, we showed you Daytona Beach over in Volusia County. We took you live to Flagler Beach, and we took you live to Brevard County, among so many other places. So if you're up with us, stay up with us. Turn it on and leave it on, because we're going nowhere. News 13 has the only team of AMS certified weather broadcast meteorologists in all of Central Florida. They'll be joining us live in a moment for a live look at your weather on the ones. The very latest track came out about an hour and 10 minutes ago, and there have been some significant changes. So please stay with us, because that's coming up in a moment. Also, they're updating the website, mynews13.com, with the very latest forecast details. Once you're at the website, mynews13.com, you've got to check out the Hurricane Center. It includes all kinds of information, and it's awesome because it is county by county specific. So you don't have to go through everybody else's details. You can just focus on your county. And also, if you happen to lose power, what's awesome is that we have a lifeline, okay? And that's called social media, Facebook, Twitter. We're all over it. We're updating you through those platforms around the clock as Hurricane Matthew barrels through our area. We are getting reports of some power outages. We're tracking some of the numbers for you also on that. And another reminder, get the News 13 Plus app. It's available for you as well, and we're constantly updating that. At 3:10, Ryan Harper joining us now with a look at what's happening out on the wet roads this morning. Ryan?
Thank you, Beth, and good morning. It's going to be an interesting day because obviously we're under a curfew in most counties throughout Central Florida, so you shouldn't even be out there along the roadways, but that hasn't mean that we are without incident already this morning, and most of it has to do with standing water, and that does include Florida's Turnpike. If you're traveling northbound, getting word that at least a couple of hours ago they actually had to temporarily close portions of the Turnpike northbound in that area. Still some standing water. It is open as of right now, so if that's where your travelers are taking it, I don't recommend even being outside right now, but that's going to be the deal there. Also, we do have some railroad crossing arms that are not functioning correctly along Michigan Street west of Orange Avenue. They're actually just constantly going up and down, so that is a hazard right now. And I also want to give you an update that we actually have a crash that is active on the eastbound side, a pretty serious one too. Some injuries involved and a roadblock along State Road 408 traveling eastbound near State Road 417. So there are some vehicles out there along the roadway despite the curfew in Orange County. So I recommend obviously staying inside. And for all the latest updates, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. This update brought to you by your Central Florida Honda dealers. Over to our weather center now with meteorologist Marie McCann. And Mo, what is the latest information regarding Matthew?
Matthew still has winds of 120 miles per hour near the center of circulation, but we've seen winds nearly to hurricane force in Brevard County. And this is what it looks like in Port Canaveral right now, that wind-driven rain, and it's about to become even more intense with some significant downpours just off the coast. We can see them on Storm Tracker 13. I'll take you there right now. First to an overall view, and now we'll go in for a closer look. In the loop, you can see those shear markers, as we call them, indications of rotation. I was talking about that just a little while ago. Those seem to have dissipated, but within these bands, we do need to watch for rotation within any of the heavier squalls. Cocoa, Satellite Beach, Merritt Island, Cape Canaveral, about to see that batch just about to move on shore. That big batch yellow, that is right here. These are going to be moving inland, containing rain rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour or more, and winds that have been over 40 to 50 miles per hour. Now to a camera in Cocoa Beach. Oftentimes during the overnight hours, it's hard for us to really get a good visual of what's happening with our cameras, but this tells enough. You can see how the trees are really shaking around. This is our camera in Shepherd Park, turned away from the coast, and those winds are going to intensify as that band gets a little bit closer. Latest wind speeds in Melbourne have been up to around 44 miles per hour, over 30 miles per hour along the I-4 corridor. So even inland, we've seen impacts, and the rain is also going to be increasing in coverage over interior sections too. Most of the heaviest activity, as we just saw on radar, is off the coast, and here it is again. Along the I-4 corridor, Polk County, southern sections of Sumter and Lake counties, not really seeing much right now. Meanwhile, off to the north, getting a lot of rainfall over parts of Flagler County and northern Volusia. Again, these are going to be intensifying as these squalls move inland. Palm Coast, Bunnell, you're seeing some rain right now. And as we go down the coast, we'll be able to pan south to see exactly where the heaviest rainfall is. New Smyrna Beach, Oak Hill, you are about to see the rain get even heavier. Titusville and Mims also getting that very heavy rainfall going down the coast towards Rockledge, Melbourne, and Palm Bay. Starting to get some lightning now within this core right here, and this is where some of our strongest winds will be. And the latest track bringing it still to the northwest. These are going to come very close to the coast, if not move over land over the course of the next few hours. A lot of the reports that we've seen coming in so far have been winds to tropical storm force. That's what each one of these icons represent. Some as far inland as Sanford, wind gusts already to 46 miles per hour, and at Orlando Executive, winds to 41. Over at the coast, Haulover Canal, a 67 mile per hour wind gust. We'll continue to update those as they come in. Here are the latest coordinates and the latest speed moving to the northwest at 14 miles per hour. Remember, this is a very large storm, so even if the center of circulation were to stay just off the coast, we have these intense bands on the left side, which will impact Brevard County the most, and also southern sections of Volusia County. The latest track brings it to the north near Cape Canaveral a little bit after daybreak, and then it'll move pretty quickly parallel to the coastline, eventually moving up by Jacksonville by Friday evening. And as that happens, we're going to see our conditions improve. Our wind projections will really increase in the next couple of hours as that eye gets closer to Melbourne and just offshore. The winds may be up to 90 miles per hour with higher gusts. Inland sections also facing the risk of winds briefly up to hurricane force, but notice by 8:30 tonight, Friday evening, we'll be looking at the wind speeds starting to drop off a bit as the storm gets closer to the coast of Georgia. In addition to the winds, we're tracking significant amounts of rain that will lead to widespread flooding, not just inland, but at the coast, combined with storm surge. The potential rainfall on the order of 4 to 8 inches area-wide. Even Leesburg, Ocala, you could have some of those squalls pushing inland, so we don't want to just be focusing on the coast. Of course, that's where the most significant impacts will be, but inland areas also could be facing flooding out of this scenario. So tropical storm and hurricane conditions expected today in the middle 80s, followed by improving conditions slowly tonight, and Saturday is when we'll really see things clear out, but the winds will still be elevated. So we'll continue with team coverage with your next check of weather on the ones in less than 10 minutes. Right now, send things over to Storm Tracker 13 Doppler radar.
Stay on top of what's happening in your neighborhood.
An update now for you coming into the News 13 newsroom.
Follow News 13 on Twitter.
At Morgan & Morgan, we're pleased to welcome Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as our partner. He was raised to put people first and for years has been a voice for the voiceless and has provided power to the powerless. Bobby's love for the environment and our lakes and rivers is ever present and well known, and his leadership in our cases against greedy polluters and reckless corporations is invaluable. It is his love of nature and love of people and their families that drives him daily. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Bad weather can happen at any time. That's why you need a radar that's on all the time.
We have a lot more weather coming in over the next couple of hours.
Storm Tracker 13, part of the largest Doppler network in the Southeast, tracking storms with more detail, more accuracy, and the only live radar showing you what's coming your way whenever and wherever you go.
Keep track of the storms just like we do here.
That's the reason more people are turning to News 13 for weather. Storm Tracker 13. Let it rain.
At Behr's Columbus Day Sale, discover styles and savings. Beautiful dining room tables, your choice for just $4.97. Don't miss Behr's luxurious Natuzzi Gallery. And always the lowest prices on 100% all genuine Italian leather sofas, starting from $9.97. Shop Florida's largest selection of luxury designer furniture and accessories. Create the home of your dreams now with Behr's always complimentary interior design service. This weekend, Behr's Columbus Day Sale.
I'm Roland Munns.
I'm Rainier Munns. Together, as parents of 18 children, we know firsthand the importance of teaching our kids key values to help them become successful in life.
For nearly a century, Boy Scouts of America has provided programs to help young people build character and positive friendships, but most importantly, lifelong values.
To learn more, visit scouting.org and let the adventure begin.
This rain is just off to your west.
You can see where it's falling.
Know before you go with your weather and traffic together every 10 minutes, all morning long on News 13.
And we're back now at 3:18. You know, we've seen some flooding and other damage inland as well as on the coast. Hurricane Matthew making its mark in Seminole County. News 13 Scott Feist continues our live team coverage in Sanford. So, Scott, what have you seen out there this morning?
Good morning, Ebeth. I can tell you that Matthews winds are starting to be felt here. We arrived in downtown Sanford probably about a half hour ago or so, and it was just kind of a balmy evening. Since then, the winds have really picked up. Take a look out here. You can see the St. Johns River right over here, and in Sanford, we have waves coming into downtown, still well underneath the seawall. No water, nothing coming up above yet, but these waves are about 2 to 3 feet, a lot of chop. And then take a look at the palm trees. As you can see, we are seeing the palm trees blow, and all across downtown Sanford so far, no damage except for these guys right here. Palm fronds are littering all over the street, but I want to take you somewhere and show you something. Take a look at this. About an hour ago, Sanford police tell me that this houseboat was still anchored out in the St. Johns River. And as you can see, most likely one of the mooring lines, one of the anchor lines has given way, and this boat is now bashing itself up against the seawall right here in downtown Sanford. Already the railing on the side of the boat over here on the port side is starting to come undone. And because this is the St. Johns River, it is Florida's longest river at 310 miles long, stretches from the south of the state up to the north. The water here is going to rise, and police tell me that they expect this boat in the next day or so to be up here on the grass, that the water level is going to rise and it's going to topple right into the street. That's the latest here in downtown Sanford. Now back to you.
Wow, those are impressive images. Thanks so much, Scott Feist, reporting to us from Sanford. Time right now, almost 3:21. Time for your live weather on the ones. Again, if you're up with us, riding out this hurricane, we thank you for staying with us for our special coverage. And our meteorologists, Maureen McCann and Mallory Nichols, have a live look at the forecast. So let's talk about the wind and the rain, because I'm getting lots of messages that folks are losing power.
Absolutely, Beth. We're dealing with power outages at the coast, of course, we've been talking about, and even inland. We showed that picture a little while ago of Orange City when we had those strong winds. So damage possible inland as well. And also interior sections. We now have a flood advisory, you mentioned?
It's actually a flood warning for Brevard County. That is set to go until 5:45 a.m., where we do have already 2 to 3 inches that have fallen across Brevard County and an additional 2 to 3 inches possible. So that's a flood warning in effect until 5:45 a.m. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of that heavier rain starting to move ashore now as that eye walk gets a little bit closer to us.
So yeah, flood warning is going to be something we see more of. We've been talking about the flood watch that's scrolling along at the bottom of your screen, and the potential is there for the flood conditions within these rainfall rates. I'm going to talk about them county by county coming up in just a moment, but a reminder of that flood warning that we have in effect that goes until 5:45 for Brevard County. So that's what we're seeing with the latest advisories. Of course, we still have our hurricane warning in effect and our hurricane our tropical storm warnings that are inland. Interior sections about to see some very heavy rain move in. Again, this is Storm Tracker 13 showing the heaviest convection. This is the band I'd likely be most worried about with the conditions in southern Brevard County near this streak right here of red and orange, getting closer to Melbourne and Sebastian Inlet and sections of southern Brevard County along A1A. That's where some of the heaviest rain is, with the eye showing up just on the edge of your screen there, moving to the northwest, staying just off the coast, parallel to our coast. That will likely keep the strongest winds out over the water, but the hurricane force winds do extend outward of 45 miles from the center, which is what we've been saying all along. This isn't just one location. When you see us show the hurricane like this, the wind field is so much larger, and tropical storm force winds can go out to 185 miles from the center with this, even on the left side of the storm. So it's moving to the northwest at 14. We're now getting hourly updates on this as it gets closer to Brevard County, and as the pressure goes down within these areas, the storm surge, or the water levels at the coast, going up because of that wind that is out over the water, pushing the water up over towards the land, has no place to go but up over the beaches. areas. So potential storm surge could be over 3 to 6 feet or more, 5 to 8 feet even. And in the darker green shaded areas, that's where the storm surge could be the highest. Here's another vantage point of that in Brevard County. The northern sections may be most targeted, along with in Volusia and Flagler counties. The water will come up very high along the coastline, especially around the time of high tide. We'll show that coming up at 3:31. On to your county by county impacts, and with the center of low pressure traveling very close to Flagler and Volusia County, here's where you have that risk of storm surge, winds that will gust over hurricane force, and extensive beach erosion. The timing for you is a little more delayed, with the most intense impacts as the storm moves by Cape Canaveral around 8 a.m. This will be late morning to early afternoon for you as the storm travels parallel to the coast. Impacts in Brevard County, you know, you've seen it from a lot of our reporters. The significant wind, the significant rain, extensive damage possible, and widespread power outages as well. 4 to 8 inches of rain possible here. Even inland sections will also face that risk of power outages, winds over 55 miles per hour possible in Osceola County. And within some of those very intense bands, we also have to monitor for the risk of isolated tornadoes. That goes for all of our inland areas and even at the coast. Isolated tornadoes possible in Seminole County, but really the biggest threats will be the rain and the wind. Of course, that will lead to minor power outages. Same with Marion Lake and Sumter Counties. Got a tropical storm warning posted here. Power outages may not be as widespread, but you may find that in pockets with winds that will be tropical storm force. And here in Orange County, we'll also be watching for the same thing. Rainfall up to 3 to 6 inches or more, with that isolated threat of tornadoes. So if you are here on vacation and you're watching us thinking, I'm here to enjoy the theme parks, to enjoy the beaches, and we're getting a hurricane, things will improve this weekend. Of course, there'll be some cleanup to get through, but the rain chances will drop and the temperatures will too, with drier air on the backside of the system. We'll be back again with more in just a few minutes. Right now, we'll get a live look at Storm Tracker 13 Doppler radar.
Local Forecast is brought to you by Halifax Health Hospice, now caring for Orange County.
This hurricane season, there will be a lot of name calling, but only one that matters. Storm Tracker 13.
Here at News 13, not only do we forecast the weather, we own it.
Because we're always on and always tracking 24 hours a day.
With combined technology covering all of Central Florida.
Detecting threats overhead and storms heading our way.
When severe weather happens, we'll be there before, during, and after the storm.
We're the News 13 weather experts, and we've got Storm Tracker 13.
The most powerful name this hurricane season.
The season finale of your favorite show is on tonight, but you're not at home. That's okay. You've got DVR service from Bright House Networks. Good thing you already set your DVR to record the entire series, just in case. So now, you can watch that cliffhanger when you're ready. Tonight, tomorrow, or even a month from now. Record, watch, rewind, pause, fast forward. Love your shows. Live your life. Bright House DVR.
Gibson Truck World, the largest independent used truck dealership in the world. The King of Trucks is the only dealership that gives you a real free 1-year bumper-to-bumper warranty valid across the USA, 1-year free maintenance, and our exclusive 15-day return policy. Don't take our word for it. Check out our video testimonials on our website at www.gibsontruckworld.com. We are open 7 days a week and located in beautiful sunny Sanford, Florida.
News 13 is proud to recognize our 2016 Project Weather Scholarship winners. This $1,000 scholarship is awarded to high school seniors who excel in science. Congratulations to this year's winners.
News 13 is now accepting applications for our 2017 Project Weather Scholarships. Go to mynews13.com/Project Weather to learn more. News 13, news, weather, community.
Local Forecast is brought to you by Care Plus, keeping the health in healthcare.
Good Good morning, Central Florida. Time right now, just about 3:30. Glad you're with us. I'm Ibeth Brusual. I know that many people are on edge right now because this hurricane is actually being felt all across Central Florida. It is scary, and we know that, but here's the deal. You are where you need to be. We're going to keep you updated with the very latest information. If you happen to lose power, I invite you to go to, on your phone, on your tablet, whatever you have available, mynews13.com. We are updating all the latest information on the website and also the News 13 Plus app. That's the News 13 Plus app. So we're with you on this. Let's get going right now at almost 3:30. Time for your live weather on the ones. Meteorologist Maureen McCann and Mallory Nichols joining us now. So, ladies, talk to me about the intensity of the rain and the wind, because that's what people are seeing outside their windows right now.
And they are about to see more of it, Beth. We just got word in about some significant impacts that are going to be bearing down in Brevard County.
Yeah, now they're talking along Volusia and Brevard County here that they could get extreme winds, which means that if you are in a shelter, this is what they're saying exactly from the National Weather Service. If you're in a shelter, it's time to shelter within the shelter. So moving toward the interior portions of your house, staying away from the windows. We have that core getting a little bit closer to us, so not only extreme winds with gusts maybe up to 100 miles per hour, but also the potential for tornadoes to maybe move ashore.
Absolutely. So this is going to be a very intense situation for Brevard County as those heaviest rain bands get closer to the coast. Here's another look at things from the more wide vantage point. Rain bands heaviest out over the water right now, but this is what we need to watch really closely, Mallory, because any shift to the west or more to the northwest is going to bring those bands closer to the coastline.
Yeah, that's right, Maureen. And just something to think about, that center of circulation is 50 miles east of Melbourne, and it's continuing to move to the northwest. So it's going to be getting very close to our coastline here. The latest track did shift it a little farther away from us, but it's still going to get pretty close. So we're looking at extreme winds along with some of that heavier rain. We do have that flood warning for Brevard County set to go until 5:45 a.m. So yeah, this is still a concerning situation.
Yeah, and going back to the radar and talking about that radius, we're saying how the center about 50 miles from Melbourne. That means the intense bands on the western or left side of the storm are even closer, and they are moving very quickly, but within them we have to be watching for winds that will be over hurricane force, as you said, maybe upwards of 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about here with this Category 3 storm. So even though it backed off a little bit from that Category 4, it's still a major hurricane.
Absolutely. I'm going to go check out some of the wind speeds too. We've seen them over 60 miles per hour in parts of Brevard County already. Here's another look at some of the current winds to 46 sustained in Melbourne. So we'll be watching this band very closely. We'll be back with another live update coming your way at 3:41. Let's go back to Ibeth with more from her.
All right, thank you very much. Time right now, 3:31 on this Friday morning. News 13's Jerry Hume continues our live team coverage from Brevard County. So, Jerry, we're told many people were hesitant to evacuate before the storm got bad. What's the weather like where you are now? Looks awful.
It's bad. It's bad. It's really bad, Beth. We're very intense winds right now. Here in Melbourne, we're near City Hall. We're actually in a parking garage on the 3rd floor just to take some shelter, but you can see the wind is pushing the rain almost horizontally out here in this parking lot in front of us, and the trees are moving. There's a lot of palm fronds on the roadways. This is US 192 right here, and it's a straight shot east to the barrier islands where there are evacuation orders in place. We've seen flashes of light. Not sure if it's lightning or if it's transformers, but we know that power has been lost to some 20,000 people here in Brevard County, according to Florida Power and Light. Actually, I saw power just get lost over here to the left. You can see that railroad crossing sign is swaying back and forth, and this power line is very low right now. So that is why there's a lot of power outages, because of this wind, this intense wind right now. It is so strong. I'm trying to clock the wind speeds in here. I'm getting to 20 miles per hour. I've got 40 miles per hour earlier, but it is much worse out there. We have a little protection right here. And you can see these trees here are barely holding on in front of us, in front of this little water basin where this was empty or near empty at midnight, and you can see a lot of rain has come down. So we're continuing to watch conditions out here, and they are deteriorating, so people should try to take shelter. We've learned that about 4,600 people here in Brevard County have gotten into one of the 15 evacuation shelters that are across the mainland portion of the county. That's the latest live here in Melbourne. Jerry Hume, News 13.
Hey, thank you so much, Jerry. Where Jerry is, 50 miles from where he is the eye of this hurricane, hence the intensity of what we're seeing where he is at right now at 3:34. Let's continue our extensive live team coverage this morning with Jason Lanning joining us live now from St. Lucie County. So walk us through what you're seeing right now where you are.
Right, Hurricane Matthew is now to our north and pushing away, Ebeth, so we're hoping in the next few hours we'll get a break from some of the tropical storm force winds we've been dealing with here for several hours. Want to give you a live look right behind us, just outside of our hotel front door in Fort Pierce. They got a downed tree here, smaller size tree, but this tree came down probably a couple hours ago in one of these significant bursts of wind, and we are still seeing those here. So although this storm is pushing away from Fort Pierce, people still being urged here to shelter in place because we get a number of injuries from hurricanes and tropical systems. Folks coming outside before they should, and they'll get hit by debris or falling trees exactly like this one. We want to pan over to the parking lot. Very dark here. We've been without power for more than 3 hours, but you can see here some of the smaller scattered debris and branches in the parking lot. That's what this entire area will look like here once we get some sunlight in the next 3 to 4 hours and assess some of the damage. We know right around 300,000 across the state of Florida without power. Florida Power and Light makes up about 220,000 of those power outages. But we've been looking at these bright flashes of this blue-green color on the horizon. That is not lightning. If we get lucky enough to see one, that's transformers blowing in the distance as Matthew continues to pound this area. And with every one of those flashes, we've been seeing hundreds, if not thousands, of more people lose power. And the bad news for folks without power here on the East Coast, it will take a while. FP&L does have a number of crews staged across the state. They will not be coming into the hard-hit areas, though, until it is safe to do so. So folks without power may not get power back for several hours. Might take more than a day to 2 days for some of the major power restorations to happen here on the East Coast. Ebeth?
Jason Lanning reporting live from St. Lucie County. What a trooper he is. Thank you very much. We continue now at 3:36. You know, my phone is blowing up. I have neighbors, viewers sending me messages, and many folks are scared. And I only bring that up because if you feel that way, listen, it's okay. This is a huge deal. It's you know, you hear the wind howling outside your door and you're wondering, when is this thing going to let up? So just hang in there, stay away from windows, and just stay in a safe room and make sure that all your devices are charged up. And speaking of devices, lots of folks are losing their power. And so where's the lifeline? It's through social media. News 13's Caitlin Jones keeping up with that part of the story. Good morning, Caitlin.
Good morning. And yeah, Beth, I want to highlight some of the things on our website, mynews13.com. We have a lot of pictures up there that you guys are sending in, but we also are posting every hour. We also have those power outages updated for you. Duke Energy, I just keep refreshing this in the Orlando area because it keeps growing. Right, the last time I updated it was right around 400, around 400, yeah, 404 right now in the Orlando area. Florida Power and Light, they've got around 200,000 outages across the state. Some of the worst is in St. Lucie, Martin County. We're also seeing that number start to grow in Brevard County with 20,000 power outages right now. Now, just to put this into perspective for you, just a couple hours ago, Brevard EOC tweeted out that they can no longer respond to emergencies because it is too dangerous for them. We're also seeing this video. It's starting to really go viral from Sanford. This is the police department. They went live showing somebody that had broken in to a business while people were evacuating the area and getting into their homes. They say go ahead and do not do that. Go into your homes. Don't commit crimes. They do say this person was arrested. So law enforcement very very intense right now. Orange County residents, we know that we're in this area under a curfew. 2 subjects arrested for curfew violation, according to Orange County. Orlando, Florida is telling people to only call 911, guys, if it's a life or death emergency. That's when you know this is very serious. And so we're seeing other things updated on Twitter. The hurricane hunters showed this from the eye of the storm just a couple of hours ago. You can see very turbulent, very scary video. Look at that, man, just crazy. And we have a lot of our own reporters out there showing a lot of pictures coming in. We're continuing to update and follow everything coming in online for you. We're going to continue to update you throughout the morning in the Web Center. I'm Caitlin Jones.
Time now 3:39. She usually covers sports, but today she's helping us out. News 13's Andy Wantor is in the Emergency Operations Center in Brevard County. Andy, how wonderful to see you. What's the latest that you've heard where you are at the EOC?
Well, I'm becoming a little bit of a weather expert, Beth, or at least I'm trying my best. Here at the Brevard County Emergency Operations Center. And the latest news coming out of here is actually that they do have a flood warning for Brevard County that'll be in place till 5:45 a.m. There has been 2 to 3 inches of rain has already fallen, with another 2 to 3 inches expected. There are already down power lines in the area, as well as widespread power outages. The latest number, updated at just 3 a.m., put us at over 35,000 residents without power. To put that into perspective, at 1 a.m. it was just 13,000. So as the storm is coming through and it's really intensifying here in Brevard County, those numbers are going up and more people are expecting to find themselves without power here in Brevard. Andy Wantor, News 13.
All right, thanks so much, Andy. When she's not helping us out, you can watch her on Bright House Sports Network, 1147, when it's not storming outside. All right, time right now is 3:41. Let's go ahead and talk about what's happening outside your door. Quick look at your weather on the ones with meteorologist Maureen McCann. Maureen?
Thanks to Beth, and good morning. Coming up on 3:41, going back to our camera over in Cape Canaveral as it pans around, showing those intense bands moving inland and some of the heaviest rain that we're going to see with this storm about 20 miles off the coast of Brevard County. So that's how it appears from a camera perspective. Going over to our winds on Storm Tracker 13, these have ramped up a bit, now seeing them chopping 70 miles per hour from this data along the coastline. And clearly inland, we also have those winds up to tropical storm force along the I-4 corridor away from the coast. So these winds are going to continue to push eastward. I'll show you the timing on that in just a moment. Now let's go over to the radar perspective, where we have our very well-defined eye. And within this area right here, this is what we were talking about just a short while ago when Mallory was joining me, these bands are warranting you to shelter in place. Of course, you're doing that already, but get to the safest part of your shelter as you prepare for winds that may be over 90 to 100 miles per hour as those eye wall bands get closer to land. So interior room or closet away from windows and doors. Of course, a lot of the extreme coastal areas already evacuated. But if you are in the inland areas, this is the time for you to find that safe place until these bands pass. They're getting closer. The center of circulation, put a arrow on here just to show you the distance. The center about 40 miles away from southern Brevard County and under 50 miles per hour from sections like Rockledge and Cocoa and Vieira. But this band right here is what we're watching. We've seen a little bit of rotation with it in the last hour, not finding any shear markers right now on the radar that would depict any indicative tornadoes or any water spouts, but that's something that we have to be concerned about as these bands get closer to land. So as they push inland, some of these effects will be felt in these areas around these times. So Melbourne during the 4 o'clock hour, same with you in Rockledge. Further to the north, another batch of very heavy rain from Oak Hill down to Titusville and Mims, and eastern sections of Orange County now getting in on some of those heavier pockets of rain. Those are also pushing east at a pretty good clip, so it's going to come through in bursts. Other areas not seeing anything right now inland, but that is soon going to change. When we change the perspective of the storm, remember, the brighter the red here, the more intense the activity, and the taller the reflectivity is, the higher vertical structure. That means the more intense the thunderstorms are radar. So these are just off the coast, which is what we have to brace for along the immediate coastline. But we also have some other stronger thunderstorms filtering inland as well. A lot of the heaviest rainfall is still off the coast. The 24-hour rainfall estimates picking up on amounts that have already fallen over an inch or two in sections of Brevard County. Of course, we have seen more than this in isolated areas. It's just an estimate. And of course, if you have a rain gauge in your yard, love to hear from you and tell us what you have been picking up on. Here are some other rainfall estimates in northern Brevard County. But that band that came through yesterday evening over Seminole and northern Orange counties, look at these rainfall estimates, over 4 inches, which is why it's an area-wide threat for flooding today, with the flood advisory also, or flood warning also in effect for Brevard County. We have Hurricane Matthew with winds of 120 miles per hour moving to the northwest at 14, and that northwesterly track is going to bring it very close to our coastline over the next 3 to 6 hours. 86 degrees for today with tropical storm and hurricane conditions. That's a quick look at your forecast and writing. Of course, we'll have more coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, a live look at Storm Tracker 13 Doppler radar.
You're watching Central Florida's only 24-hour news channel, News 13. News weather now. The News 13 Plus app brings you real-time traffic information in the palm of your hand, exclusively from Bright House Networks.
The things that matter to me in life are my faith, my family, and my firm. The values I most admire are justice, mercy, and compassion. When I represent clients as a result of an accident, those principles and values are with me throughout your case. An injury occurs in seconds. The time it takes to heal may be a long time, maybe a lifetime. I can't guarantee you results, but I can guarantee you hard work and a long career of experience. Call the Nation Law Firm.
This hurricane season, there will be a lot of name calling, but only one that matters. Storm Tracker 13.
Here at News 13, not only do we forecast the weather, we own it.
Because we're always on and always tracking 24 hours a day.
With combined technology covering all of Central Florida.
Detecting threats overhead and storms heading our way.
When severe weather happens, we'll be there before, during, and after the storm.
We're the News 13 weather experts, and we've got Storm Tracker 13.
The most powerful name this hurricane season.
Growing up, Derek Brooks was taught that education and community service came before anything else, even sports. And Derek still feels the same way today. Through his work in the community with youth and education, Derek Brooks Charities helps Tampa Bay's young people learn what it's like to succeed, no matter what field they're on. Together, everyone achieves more. That's a team. Go to db55.org for more information.
I can't believe it's over.
I know. It all happened so fast.
Dad's proud. It was a nice service and well attended.
The DeGespy family was so compassionate. They made sense of the decisions and arrangements.
It showed how much we care. And it was affordable.
I'm Todd DeGespy. Let our family help yours. Funeral or cremation from $7.95. Call or visit DeGespyFuneralHome.com.
Storm Tracker 13 is brought to you by Orlando Federal Credit Union. Banking for a new generation.
And we continue to get updates continuously into our newsroom about Hurricane Matthew. We're learning about curfew violations in Orange County and power outages along the coast. News 13's Allison Walker-Torres is joining us live in the newsroom with the latest. Allison?
Yeah, Beth, we've learned from Orange County Sheriff's Office that 2 people have been arrested for curfew violation. Now, this came down just about 30 minutes ago in a tweet. I want to read it. It's, quote, Orange County residents, thanks for the overwhelming cooperation on traffic and curfew warnings, but 2 subjects have been arrested for curfew violations. So they're taking this very seriously. So the curfew in Orange County went into effect at 10 p.m. last night and stays in effect until 7 a.m. Saturday. That's the same in Volusia County, by the way. We'll get to some more counties in a minute. So again, from Orange County Sheriff's Office, they're taking this very seriously. It's a mandatory curfew in order to protect life and safety. It is in effect through 7 a.m. So stay off the roads, you guys, unless there's extenuating extenuating circumstances. So again, Volusia County, again, same thing through 7 a.m. Saturday, and Seminole County goes into effect about an hour and a half at 5 a.m., stays in effect until 7 a.m. Saturday as well, and in Flagler, it's 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. until otherwise noted. So officials are taking that seriously. I also do want to talk about some new details we have about power outages. This is from Florida Power and Lights. Now, first in Brevard County, 20,000 people without power. So out of the total customers, that's about 6%. In Volusia County, the number right now is 8,820, and that's about 5% of the customers. So, Ebeth, of course, we're expected for this to rise in the next couple hours. Ebeth, back to you.
All right, thank you so much. Alison Walker-Torres reporting live for us regarding curfews and also power outages. Appreciate it. She usually covers entertainment, but, you know, it's all hands on deck. We're here working for you. Time right now is 3:49, so in less than 3 minutes, another live look at your weather on the ones here on News 13 as we all are dealing with this hurricane together. Stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back.
News 13 is brought to you by Alert Today Florida. Always watch for pedestrians because safety doesn't happen by accident.
News 13. Nothing is more convenient than now.
We're on when it's convenient for you, not just at 5, 6, or 11, but anytime, any day.
Showers and storms a good bet across the area.
We have a finger on the pulse of what's going on in your community because it's our community, too. You know you can depend on News 13. You trust us to bring you the most up-to-date information when you want it. We're proud to be the only station with news and weather on your schedule.
News 13. Nothing is more convenient than now.
Seeing my children grow up into Boy Scouts was one of the most fulfilling parts of being a parent. I got to witness them care for those in need, build self-esteem, but most importantly, have fun.
Just like my nephews, my children learned the importance of teamwork as well as sharing your knowledge with those younger than you.
Years later, we're proud to see our own children using those same values.
And we look forward to hundreds of Boy Scouts doing the same.
To learn more, visit scouting.org and let the adventure begin.
Get news, weather, and traffic on the go with the absolutely advanced News 13 Plus app. It's absolutely the only local weather app with live Storm Tracker 13 radar. And the News 13 Plus app features safety net alerts, giving you advanced warnings about severe weather and lightning in the area. Plus, you'll get absolutely more views of the road so you can navigate traffic, pick alternate routes, and get to where you're going quicker. The best part? It's absolutely free. The News 13 Plus app. Absolutely the best. Bad weather can happen at any time. That's why you need a radar that's on all the time.
We have a lot more weather coming in over the next couple of hours.
Storm Tracker 13, part of the largest Doppler network in the Southeast, tracking storms with more detail, more accuracy, and the only live radar showing you what's coming your way whenever and wherever you go.
Keep track of the storms just like we do here.
That's the reason more people are turning to News 13 for weather. Storm Tracker 13. Let it rain. Get news, weather, and traffic on the go with the News 13 Plus app with Storm Tracker 13 radar and safety net alerts. The News 13 Plus app, absolutely free.
Here at 3:51, we're looking at some intense rain bands just off the coast of Brevard County as our team coverage continues.
Yeah, we're watching some of those heavy rain bands, as Maureen mentioned, heading toward the Brevard County, Volusia County coastline. And because of that, we do have that flood warning that is in effect for Brevard County set to go until 5:45. And check out that radar picture.
I know the 3D perspective really tells you the intensity because of the vertical structure of those bands that are off the coast. Remember, the brighter the red, the stronger the rain band, and the taller it is on this map, the more intense those rain bands are, or the rain is going to be, and also the wind, Mallory, which is what is going to be happening very soon in Brevard County.
Yeah, very short amount of time. You could easily get several inches of rain moving ashore. So a little bit of concern not only right now with the heavy rain that is going to be possible here over the next few hours, but the potential as well as the eye gets a little bit closer to the east coast for some extreme winds. We're talking gusts over 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, so the next few hours will be critical, and make sure you are in the safest part of your house as these bands pass by in Brevard County, away from windows and doors, away from outside of your home to make sure you stay safe as that storm makes its way closer to land. The new numbers coming in at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. The new advisory winds to the it's moving to the northwest still at 14, winds to 120. So with that northwesterly track coming very close to Cape Canaveral, with some of those intense bands pushing over land within the next few hours. The paused view here of the satellite imagery really does show that a lot of the convection, some of the heaviest rain bands are on the right side of the storm, but they still need to spiral inward towards the coast, and that's what we are anticipating throughout the morning. Here's another look at the radar imagery with the bands right here, the brighter yellows and oranges just off the coast by about 20 miles, and those are what are going to be moving inland. Another perspective of the winds and where they are the strongest. The strength is still at Category 3, and you can tell by the orange shaded area on the northeastern side of the storm. That's where some of the heaviest rainfall, or rather the strongest winds are. But even inland, we've seen winds to 74 miles per hour, or we've seen at the coast, sections of Brevard County have had wind gusts in the last hour of about 74 to 79, and then tropical storm force winds inland. The latest track, I know this looks kind of crazy here, we'll update it again for you, but the trajectory brings it up towards Cape Canaveral by around 8 o'clock this morning, and then curving back up towards Jacksonville by Friday evening. We were looking at the spaghetti model plots all week, and of course you hear us talk about this in our tropical update all the time. Each one of these lines represents a different computer model and where it thinks the center of circulation will go. And as we get closer in time to when these impacts are going to happen, in the short term we can see very good consensus. When the models deviate from one another, then it's hard to really discern exactly where the system would go, but this gives us better forecast confidence of that very close approach to Brevard County. But this has shifted in the last 24 hours off to the east, which is a good thing, keeping the steadiest rain and wind off the coast. But these bands that are going to be on the left side of it still going to be very intense. Here are your latest wind speeds showing up inland, 20 to 35 miles per hour across the I-4 corridor. Even Ocala and Leesburg pretty gusty at this time, but certainly the strongest winds are being felt on the coast, and we've been seeing that with our reporters that are stationed there throughout the morning. The wind field, the likelihood of the hurricane force winds within the next hour really going to be confined to extreme coastal sections of Brevard County. This has shifted a little bit from yesterday, which again, it's a good thing. Yesterday we were seeing this core of hurricane force winds extend closer to the I-4 corridor, but now they are going to hug the coast with the field of tropical storm force winds still setting up across inland areas. Again, we'll be watching this move to the northwest throughout the morning, and then by evening hours we'll see this depart up towards Jacksonville, and our conditions will improve. Do want to touch upon the 7-day forecast very briefly, and we've been showing you this from time to time, especially for those that are vacationing here, hoping to enjoy some calmer weather, and we will get that in just a few days, but the worst the conditions will be this morning. Sounds like we're going to send things back over to Ryan now for a check of the roads. Of course, a lot of places under curfews, but we're still monitoring things. He has the latest right now. Hey, Ryan.
Thank you, Mo. Good morning. And I was just going to say, normally weather and traffic go hand in hand, but the big story today being obviously Hurricane Matthew's approach. We're under curfew for several counties in Central Florida right now. In fact, we had reports a few minutes ago of a couple that were arrested in Orange County as a result of breaking curfew. But we're still not without incident this morning. A few incidents out there, a few hazards out there. We've seen some areas with some wires down. This is an area where the power's not working correctly at the railroad tracks, so the arms keep going up and down in terms of crossing the roadway in that area. Don't recommend you're going outside unless it's an emergency purposes only. Pine Tree Drive is completely flooded in Ormond Beach. This is in Volusia County at Old Dixie Highway. They're telling people just to avoid Pine Tree Drive even if you're out there in the roadway, but obviously they would prefer you to stay indoors if possible, obviously throughout your curfew throughout the day. This update brought to you by your Central Florida Honda dealers.
Time now for
Priority Health is brought to you by Total Septic Services. If water flows through it, we do it.
I'm Todd Miner. For years, I fought for my clients, but this month, I'm also joining the fight against breast cancer. Please join me by getting involved in supporting research to help find a cure. Together, we can stop breast cancer for life.
With a storm on the way, keeping you informed is our priority. So now's the time to turn to Bright House Network's News 13. You can count on News 13 for storm updates every 10 minutes, 24 hours a day. And rest assured, thousands of local employees who live and work in this community are standing by if needed. To learn more about what's going on in your area, visit brighthouse.com/Storm Center.
Seeing my children grow up into Boy Scouts was one of the most fulfilling parts of being a parent. I got to witness them care for those in need, build self-esteem, but most importantly, have fun.
Just like my nephews, my children learned the importance of teamwork as well as sharing your knowledge with those younger than you.
Years later, we're proud to see our own children using those same values. And we look forward to hundreds of Boy Scouts doing the same. To learn more, visit scouting.org and let the adventure begin.
News 13 is proud to recognize our 2016 Project Weather Scholarship winners. This $1,000 scholarship is awarded to high school seniors who excel in science. Congratulations to this year's winners.
News 13 is now accepting applications for our 2017 Project Weather Scholarships. Go to mynews13.com/Project Weather to learn more. News 13, news, weather, community.
He used to represent the insurance companies, and now he was representing plaintiffs. I liked his demeanor, I liked his character, and his confidence.
Everything I learned on their side, I bring to your side. Todd Minor Law, expect more.
Local Forecast is brought to you by Don Reed Ford in Maitland. Celebrating 50 years as Central Florida's oldest family-owned Ford dealer. Shop DonReedFord.com.